Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amy for those of you who are new, and may I just say, I already filmed this video once and then deleted all the footage. So that's how my day is going. How about yours? Today I'm coming to you with another expat video because if you didn't already know, I am currently an expat living in the Middle East. This is my second year living in Bahrain, and then prior to that I lived in Kuwait for a little while. So I like to make these kinds of videos to educate you guys about what it's like to be an expat and to share some of my experiences for those of you who might be thinking about moving to a new country or doing some more traveling, or just for those of you who are just generally interested. Today's take on that is going to be slightly different because you guys know, if you've been here before, that I love my lifestyle. I think there are so many amazing experiences and positives that come from living as an expat. I get to travel a lot. I love the place where I live. I've learned so much. I meet interesting people and I could gush about it forever. But I very rarely take a second to talk about the not so great parts of expat life. And there are some. I think it's really important, not just with this, but with all things, that we are completely open and honest about the positives and the negatives. Because let's be fair, there are positives and negatives to everything in life. And if we're only showing the shiny, happy, everything is wonderful side of things, then that's just not an accurate representation, and it's quite frankly not truthful. And I want to share my truth with all of you today by telling you some of the things that quite frankly suck about being an expat. And this isn't me complaining, this isn't me having a woe is me moment, because like I said, I love my life. Hand clap. But I just want to give you a more balanced view of the reality of what my experience is like, because I don't want to constantly be feeding you guys this idea that everything is wonderful every single day, and there is no downside, because there is. So let's talk about those downsides today. Before we do, please take a second and give this video a thumbs up if you like expat and travel videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you didn't do that yet. And let's talk about expat stuff now, okay? Okay, so the number one thing that I really genuinely hate about being an expat is that your time with your family and friends is very limited. And I feel like that goes without saying. Like, if you're moving to the other side of the world, you're not going to be around your family and friends as much. But more specifically, I feel like the thing that gets to me is that my time with my family and friends is limited and dictated by someone else, i.e. whoever I work for, right? Because I need to be at work whenever they need me at work. And let's be honest, when you've had some time off, going back to work just sucks. Because for most people, if you've had some time off, the idea of getting back into the routine, of getting up early, like dealing with all the workload, like it's just not appealing. Like no one's like, woo, first day of work. But like imagine adding to that whole back to work feeling the idea that you have to leave behind your home and your family and your friends and get on a plane and go back to being, in my case, alone, other than Abida, obviously. It's just something I've never really gotten used to, and it makes those back to work blues so much harder, leaving everybody behind and feeling like it just didn't get enough time. So that's one thing that really truly sucks about being an expat, is constantly having to say goodbye and having it not always be on your terms. The next thing that is not so great about expat living is the culture shock. And let's be clear, because there is something truly weirdly wonderful about culture shock and living somewhere that is completely different from anything you've ever experienced, because I feel like I have learned so much since I've been living in the Middle East. I feel like it's added a whole new depth to who I am, and it's just opened my mind up to so many different things that I never would have known about before. But it is difficult. You kind of, when you grow up in one place, take it for granted that that is just the way the world works. Like the way that society is structured, the way that people interact with one another, the way that you go about your daily life. that is all you pretty much know, except for maybe a couple of holidays here and there where you're like, oh, it's a little bit strange that people do that. They don't do that where I'm from. But then when you pick up and move to an entirely different culture, it's very difficult to get on board with an entirely different way of life because you're not used to it. You don't necessarily know the social customs, the rules, or how to get things done. And sometimes it can be very frustrating. It can. And then it also works the other way. Like when I go back to the UK after I've been in Bahrain for a while, I get into the UK and I'm like, what is going on here? Because I'm so used to being in this one space where everything functions this way that when I go back to the UK, it takes me a little bit of time to readjust to like social norms. It's a funny old thing, culture. And that's all I have to say about that. The third thing that really sucks about being an expat is missing important events. A few months ago, I had to miss my friend's wedding and I was meant to be a bridesmaid and it was crushing. There was no way around it because it's not like I can pop home for the weekend, and it's not even just those big events that you miss. Sometimes it's just the small things. Like if I call my mom on a Saturday afternoon and I'm like, hey, what are you up to? And it turns out that they're having like a little impromptu family barbecue. And I just feel so left out. I just, at that moment, would trade anything to be there in the moment. So missing out on things, regardless of how big or small, is a real drawback of living in a different country. Another annoying thing about being an expat is that you can't always find your favorite items or brands. And if you can, you might end up paying through the nose for them. So a really big example is that I am vegetarian and at home I eat a lot of like Linda McCartney burgers, Quorn, like Morrison's have their own vegan range of delicious goodies. Like there's so much available, and here there's just not. I just can't find those things. And then if I, by some miracle, ever do stumble upon something from home that I really like, it's always imported, so then it's like 3 or 4 times the price. And I mean, that even works with like makeup and skincare and even clothes. Like they have River Island here, they have Topshop, but it's not the same. It always kind of feels like we're a few seasons behind here in the high street shops. And besides that, you add like 50% extra onto the price compared to what you'd pay in the UK. So I usually have to go without my home comforts unless they're non-perishable and I can bring an entire suitcase full of them with me. And the last thing that is a real drawback to being an expat is that it can be very lonely. I mean, I am so lucky because, as most of you know, I live here with my friend Abida and we have been together since like day one. Since both of us moved to Kuwait, that was both of our first experiences of living in a different country, and we did that together, and then we moved to Bahrain together. So I feel like I have a support system here, which is amazing. But even so, it is lonely. I think a big part of expat life that is exciting is that you meet so many amazing people from all over the world, but it's almost like this revolving door of people, especially in Bahrain, because so many people are constantly coming and going. I don't feel like it's the kind of place where people of my age are necessarily settling for a long time. And so people come into your life, you get on with them really well, you make these really strong friendships, but then within 6 months they're gone again, and then new people are coming in, and it just is like this turnover of relationships, which is nice in ways that you get to meet all these interesting and wonderful people, but I just want them to stay, and they don't. And that is lonely. And I mean, I've said this before countless times, but I do think Bahrain is an amazing place to meet people and make friends. It's such a social place full of so many friendly people. So it's easy to get out there and form these relationships. It's just that they don't last that long, or the relationships last, but the people aren't here for as long as I would want them to be. And to end on that super depressing note, those are all of the drawbacks that I feel that I wanted to share with you guys about expat living. Like I said, by no means is this me saying that expat living sucks in and of itself. It doesn't. Aspects of it suck. Aspects of everything suck. There are so many more positives that outweigh the negatives, or else I wouldn't still be here. I mean, I'm still living this life, right? So there's got to be something in it. If you guys want to check out more of my expat videos, then I will leave the playlist all about this kind of thing in the description box down below. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful or insightful or entertaining or whatever, then please go ahead and give it a thumbs up to let me know. If you haven't already, then go ahead and click that subscribe button to join the Odd Squad. And for those of you who are already subscribed, thank you so much. You are the Odd Squad, and thank you. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so, so much. And I want to remind you to never lose sight of how amazing you are. Okay? Okay. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.